everybody. I am Charletta Anderson,
And I'm Sharita Reed.
and we are with WGOD, if you can't tell. And today we have a special guest, our friend Charletta Young. Now, who is Charletta Young? Well, she so happens to be on one of the songs here on as we're talking about A Covenant Christmas. I don't even know if you can see it. This is a CD version that you cannot get. It is not available on CD. Okay.
Right.
This was first released in 2006. And we are re-releasing it here in 2024. But it is such a pleasure to be able to talk with people who were a part of the project. So, Charletta, let us know your thoughts about A Covenant Christmas.
Wow. What does A Covenant Christmas mean to you? Well, I was excited. I think that when Philip came up with the idea that he wanted to do something that incorporated all of the worship ensembles at Covenant Faith, it was exciting. And I think at that time, there was no one kind of really battling to get a real spot. He just wanted to make sure that every single ensemble had something to actually display as part of a worship for Christ Christmas in that season.
Yeah.
So I was excited and just really wanted to be a part of it.
You know, some of the things that we talked about before, Covenant Christmas came about because it was a fundraiser project, actually, for us.
Really?
Yeah, it was for us to raise money to go to South Africa.
South Africa, right. That's
So
right.
how is it that you do an album of this caliber for a fundraiser? It's crazy.
Man, did we generate enough funds?
Well, we went.
We did go, but you always kind of think like, how much of that came from Covenant Christmas CD? How much of it came up from everybody else trying to do odd jobs to make the funds to go? But neither here nor there. We went.
We went, but those who actually bought a CD, y'all hold on to that. It's priceless now. Yeah, Brian told us when we interviewed him, he told us he has a signed copy from Philip.
Oh, really? Yeah. How did he do that?
Still, he's got a shrink wrap version, and he has one from Philip signed. I was like, what? I don't have a signed copy of
Wasn't even thinking about it. Was so exhausted after that project finally went through.
Yeah,
wasn't even thinking about a signed copy. The one thing I can remember was a late night. He had finished, I guess, doing everything that he needed to do to compile the CD together, and we had to make a late night trip to FedEx. Before a certain time. Remember that? Yeah. We had to travel all the way to Tinley so that he could send it to some CD. Was it CD Masters? To get it mastered. Right.
Yeah.
I was the Uber.
I remember that because I was with you. Okay, so if y'all don't know, Sharita was in the front lines. Okay, she's on 5 of these songs. Charletta and I was in the background taking care of some stuff like this.
Seriously.
So I remember
so we drove out there.
He had a deadline to get it there, and we missed it at 1 and had to go across the city to the only FedEx that was open or catch the truck on the way.
It was open 24 hours.
Wow.
We were open 24 hours and we had to get there. And I can just remember being so tired and like he was panicked and sweating and we got to get there. And I'm just like, okay. But
the thing was that he was still mastering music up until the very You back. I didn't remember that.
He was a perfectionist. So I mean, whatever he did, I mean, even the results of what came of it in his the final lay of everything was just, it was remarkable. It was remarkable.
Yes. So how did you end up singing Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas?
I have no idea. All I know was that I'm serious. I didn't. I'm sorry. I didn't know whether or not I asked him if I could do one of the standards, whether it was Chestnuts Roasting on Open Fire
Mm-hmm.
or Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And he couldn't, when he had his mind made up about something, it was just like you couldn't change it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I guess it was just the grace of God. Be like, let us sing it. You know, she's driving you like midnight, so let us sing it.
It was
Oh
it was
no.
about more than that, Charletta, because
Yeah.
I feel like this is one of people's favorite songs on the album.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah,
is.
It
Even
was
Brian
probably
said, yeah,
it was probably the most requested at Covenant Faith too.
yeah.
it was,
Yeah.
which was funny. It's funny because every time I turned around after we did the CD, they always wanted to hear "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas," and I was just like, again.
Nope. Don't y'all
Nope.
don't even believe that. Because she would get up there with that mic and it turned the whole church into a jazz club, child.
That's
Okay.
where she got her name, Cheddar Boo. Wait, how did that name come
Oh my
about?
God,
I don't even
Matthew,
know. It's just like this is cheddar,
Matthew,
y'all.
your cousin Matthew, your cousin Matthew. I don't even know
Oh,
Matthew doing some game at Sims.
but you know
Mr.
what?
Sims communicating like.
It's so funny because the execution of the song.
Come on,
It
Jesus.
really
Let me
no,
tell you.
and I wonder. I want to ask: was this something that Philip designated? Because
Yeah.
it's so good because it's pure. It's not
It, w-
overdone. It's just nice. You know what I'm
Yeah.
okay.
saying?
So how that came about? If I made the suggestion to do the song, then I wanted to have him allow me to go with a real jazzy flow
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and kind of do my own tempo and pacing. And he had a whole different mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So after I told him what I wanted to do, in his mind, he had already listened and pictured what my voice needed to sound like, how it needed to be supported, or whatever.
Hmm.
Stevie was the one, just Steve, was the
Hmm.
one that came and told me because he was with Philip when he put the music, he laid the music. And he said, Charletta, you got your song. He has completed the music. It is, you got to go in there and you got to give it. Just go in there and lay it down and give it everything you can. I'm just like, okay, okay. I thought I told him that I just wanted him to follow me.
Please.
And he done laid a whole track.
That's so
I was
funny.
just like, why couldn't we do something quiet with a nice jazz piano, a little bit of drum or whatever? And did a whole orchestra event. It was funny because it was nothing like I had imagined, but it's good to have somebody with that kind of mindset and that kind of gifting that
Mm-hmm.
hears your voice and
Mhm.
knows just how it needs to be supported because the
Mhm.
outcome was beautiful. I think the only thing that I can remember Philip directing me to do with that song
Mhm.
was to enunciate. And he didn't want me saying, this was the strangest thing I remember. He says, don't say little. And I said, what are you talking about? Have yourself a merry little. Don't say little. I want you to say little. And I was like, I thought I was saying little. He's like, no, I want you to say little, enunciate. And I was like, okay.
This is so funny because you're a speech pathologist. He's up
Thank
here
you.
trying
That's
to
what I
I
tell
was
you.
know.
thinking. I was like, I know how to enunciate. I'm in speech. What's wrong with you? But it was one of the things that he was hearing and my outcome when I was actually doing the song that he was just like, no, I need that to be enunciated. So he kind of guided me what he wanted and
Mhm.
things that I wish that I could have done over. He was like, nope, I like it. Like there's some licks in there where he just wanted me to relax. He kind of just wanted me to kind of like flow with it. You know how you guys do when you do your little ad libs, whatever. And I was just like, I'm not that, but I can do this. And he just like, that's it. I love it. Just leave it like that.
That's
So
good.
that was the fun part. But
You know, I
no,
wanna I wanna go back to something you said earlier. You said that Philip had the music laid out and that you were going to sing to the music. Now, that is the actual, as we've been doing these interviews, we've been finding that it was the opposite for other people, that
Yeah.
they would actually go lay down the song or the vocals, and then he would come behind them with the music, and it would be completely different than what they thought it would be.
So I don't know if that was about a matter of time, like just come into the studio, lay it down, and we'll just put the music to it, or he just wanted to create something.
All I can say
Amazing.
is he knew my limitations.
Well,
This girl ain't gonna be able to let me. No, I think that he just had he had a particular like groove that he wanted to have the song to have, and he just told me to go flow with it. And I thought that was the hardest thing for me to do because it was a track,
mm,
in
Yeah.
essence. And I was like, you want me to sing to a track?
hmm.
So, but once you heard the music, you it was easy to kind of like go with the flow and kind of like go ahead and
That
make it
is,
happen.
that right there, it speaks of the versatility that Philip has. He
Oh
doesn't
Hmm.
yeah,
work in just one way. He knows
Hmm.
how to work with a person to bring out the best. Because I
Yes.
don't know
yeah,
if that would have worked for Lloyd. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Or.
say
Hmm.
Lloyd and all the stuff that he does, he would have been confined to whatever Philip did. But he let Lloyd go loose on
That was
opening
good.
night, and then he just, and it's what
this
worked.
it was all a part of what was wrapped up in his gifting and just what God had equipped him to do. He
Hmm.
knew voices and he knew how they needed to be supported. He knew how to get more out of a voice
Mm-hmm.
and how to tell a voice like, mm-mm, you just too. I don't like when I told you about the story about saying little. It's like,
Hmm.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, what in the world? But when I had to do the strongest part, which as a vocalist, I'm very much a balladeer. I like to kind
Mm-hmm.
of stay in the soft kind of like
Mm-hmm.
lay low, like in the song. And there was only on that one part where he had to come around in the second half, where he wanted me to just punch it and give it. He was like, I need you to give your all right here. Just blow. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like,
Hmm.
okay, am I gonna know how to do that? But we didn't spend a lot of time on that song. We didn't spend a lot of time on that song at all. I think we did that in one night in
Mm.
that back room at grandma's house.
We were talking about how Philip
Studio
had a
one.
studio in so many different odd places. It's
Oh
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
One
Yeah.
right. So that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking for him to really add a lot. And I think he
Hmm.
did because I always felt that there was more treble to it, which was nice.
Mm-hmm.
When you think
Hmm.
about your voice, when you think about the highs and the lows.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was his gifting. He knew what to give. He knew how to support a voice, instrumentation, everything.
Yeah. So now, as we are releasing this album now to the generation that is here 18 years ago, 18 years later,
Man,
Hmm.
what are your thoughts about just this album being released, it connecting with people now as they listen to it?
man, that it still sounds so good. It still sounds so current and relevant with everything else that's out there.
Yeah.
Not that you feel like you're listening to an old Nat King song, kind of Christmas classic, but
Yeah.
something that somebody would put out and it just completely molds in with what's happening with the season.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
It's, it doesn't feel dated. And I don't know if everybody else feels that, but when you hear it, it's just like, man, it's just like,
It's
Well,
nice.
there's something on there for everybody. I love the
it
fact that
is.
it's very diverse, and so your song is very warm, and I love how he orchestrated the whole like flow of the CD. Because right before your song, I think is Christmas once again, right, and then after it kind of
Right.
picks up and stuff like that. So
With
it's really,
joy. Right.
really, really nice as far as placement. Hmm.
I love it. It's one of
Right.
my
But even when I hear that arrangement that he did with Carol of the Bells, and with Carol of the Bells as a Christmas song, someone always has a different arrangement that they're doing to make it special. And
favorites.
Hmm.
I think that what he did ranks with that. It's going to be interesting to see when people hear it, and they will,
Hmm.
Hmm.
what their take is going to be on that particular song. It's like, man, it's genius.
It's
It's
reimagined.
genius. It
Yeah.
is reimagined. It
Who would have
really
thought
is.
and make it sound African and worldly,
I know.
Carol of the
I
Bells,
know.
isn't that like a German, Russian type, I don't know, kind of song? And
But you
yet
Yeah.
kind of
now it just becomes a
Hmm.
global feel.
And it's the type of song that you look for the different arrangements like that too. Like, okay, how are they going to do it? It's one of those songs, and I mean, what his take on it was just phenomenal. It was like, man, I love that song.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So,
Well, this has been wonderful.
Yes.
I look forward to, this year we're just kind of reintroducing it to the world. But I believe it's going to have a life of its own.
I do too.
Around in a year or so, it will have been out there. You know what I'm saying? Some people listen to Christmas music all year long,
Right.
But it gives us opportunity for it to reach places and to have go into places where we hadn't thought of, like in plays or commercials or different things. As Stevie was saying, a lot of times Christmas music, it lives on. Nat King Cole can put something out years ago and we're still listening to it like it was just released.
Right. That's true.
Anything else, and there's a lot of good mix here. So there's many genres, that people can grab to. So I love it.
Yes.
And I'm glad to be a part. I don't know about you. Even though I didn't get my own
in the
track.
front lines or in behind the scenes, just a part of the part of it. So
yes. Charletta might as well be on WGOD because let me tell you, just going back to some other things that we've done and just releasing, helping Philip to release some of his other music, and I mean printing CD labels.
Oh my God.
And production management and making costumes and come on now, stage design. These three people that you see on the screen.
Yes.
We were the ones pulling that together.
Everything had to be epic. Everything was epic when it came out to any release. You talk about Rejoice. So wonderful. Right. Everything was epic. I think Fall of Fresh was probably the only thing I didn't really work on.
He just came out with that. We were like, oh, you got a new album.
Exactly.
But everything else,
long nights, sleepless nights. So
on the road, on tour.
On the road. I mean,
that's because we were all excited about what was happening, what was going on. Right. We all had that same heart and fire for what God was flowing through Philip and the whole team, to be honest. So
he
had a phenomenal support group, didn't he? He was like, okay, what did I tell you? All right, let's do it. And we all going in for the meeting to see what's going on. But I just think about any of the productions that were put out in our season when we were at Covenant. I don't think I've ever worked that hard at any church that I've been through, just to be behind just superb production. It was just an awesome season.
But what's funny is, because we say, okay, well, we were following Philip's lead, right? To be honest, we were all
doing,
like we would come together and it was like God would drop an idea and it's like, let's do a living Bible experience or whatever.
Right.
And it's like, we can set it up like this. And
exactly.
I think Passion Experience is the one where we actually had to get Philip on the move because he was dragging his feet with the music stuff.
Right.
And we were like, Philip, you need to do part. And he went in that room across the hall. And he spent 2 hours.
I have a picture of him doing it. I do have a picture of him in that room.
I remember.
He was in that room cooking.
Like a boardroom.
And he came back and he was like, y'all, listen to this. And we were like, dude, what? He came up with like soundtracks, like a whole track full of stuff for the whole production. It was crazy. So that's what we work with. And it was fun. So yes, we worked a lot at this church, but it was all fun to us because we
was
working together.
And it was fun for him too. I'll never forget when, and this has not, it applies to his genius, but I remember my sister for Covenant Kids when we did that summer camp, and she was like, the kids got to dance to something, the dance team. So we're going to do Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, but it's not going to be the Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star like, you need it. It's got to flow like this. And she spit out some directive of how she wanted him to do that song. And he came up with that version of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and added all the classical elements to it. And I was just like, oh my God.
Yes.
Oh my God.
You know,
Because you guys directed the kids when they did the ballet to it, didn't you? Didn't you do that?
I
I
don't
think you
remember
did.
that.
I'm not sure.
I was there. I don't remember that, but I remember him doing that segment because he put Twinkle Twinkle Little Star in the Nutcracker Prince or
Yes.
something in there.
Yes.
Here's an interesting fact. So, you know, as we've been going through the catalog of his music, we came to the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and we were trying to figure out, okay, what's in public domain? What can we register? You know what I'm saying? And if he uses some other music, we have to go through the licensing process, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, okay, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star is public domain. But that segment, that little piece that he put in there is not. So we were like, man, we can't
How are we gonna do this?
copyright this. But there is a rule, Sharita. What is that rule?
Yes. It's like you can play up to 4 measures before you have to pay royalties or, you know. Yeah, so he literally only put 4 measures.
He put 4 measures.
Do you think he knew that?
It was intentional.
I think he did. He had to. He put 4 measures and no more, and that was
No
it.
more.
So we can register the song.
I need a digital download of that song, please.
I mean, he's a genius.
I think I have a couple of CDs around, but just phenomenal.
It's stuff like that we would not have thought of, and here we are 20 years later trying to figure out, okay, are we in trouble? Can we use this? And no, he took care of everything.
He did. He was, no doubt he was a quick study. No doubt he knew what he and he had plans to do just what you're doing now with all of his music.
Yeah.
He had plans for that. So
yeah,
of course.
God is good, and God has so much in store for WGOD. It doesn't stop just because Philip is no longer here.
No,
we're going to continue, and God still has ideas for productions and opportunities we hadn't even thought of. So, I look forward to the journey continuing.
I'm happy for you guys. Oh yeah.
And Charletta, no, you talking about I'm happy for you guys. Okay.
I mean, yeah.
Charletta being right there amongst.
Always be Uber.
No. Maybe we'll get you a team for your costume designs and all that stuff.
Oh my God. That was more Joel, wasn't it?
Oh,
Joel Johnson and all his plays.
We have worn so many hats.
Oh my goodness.
It's all good.
But it's fun.
Yeah.
It was fun though. Good.
Thank you so much for spending time with us.
Yes.
Helping us to reminisce. There's so many things you brought up I hadn't even thought of in a long time. So this is fun.
Good job, guys.
Yes. Until next time, guys, we will see you in the next interview.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Oh, it's a Cabernet Christmas.